Hey guys, this is Jules with True Crime Reactions. Disclaimer. Everything stated in this video is my opinion and my opinion only. And just like everything else in these cases we discuss here on this channel, everything is alleged. Okay, so it's almost 1 o'clock in the morning, and we just got off our live where we slowed down and went back over the 911 call transcript release and the text messages between Dylan and Bethany when it comes to the Idaho student murder case. So I got on Twitter, that beautiful travesty of a place, and see that Brian Entin spoke with Steve Goncalves and Shannon. So I'm going to go ahead and record myself watching this. And let's just see what they have to say, because how could you not have 1,000 million more questions after this 911 call? How do you have all these people that are apparently looking at only Xana, and instead of saying there's blood everywhere, her fingers are almost completely, cut off. Instead of describing the scene that we're like being told, or that we've been told this whole time was actually there with the blood and the gore and the holy shit, okay? We're getting, oh, she drank too much last night and she won't wake up. I'm sorry. This is also coming after the Goncalveses have come out and told us that they were told by Hunter Johnson that Ethan's body was blocking the door, and that's why the girls, Dylan and Bethany, called him specifically over to the house to get Xana's door open. This doesn't sound like that. They're not even mentioning Ethan. And from the timeline that the cops have now given us, Dylan called Emily, which is Hunter's girlfriend, not Hunter. So there's things that we're being told from the family that are not adding up to this stuff either. So let's just see what Gonzo has to say.
I want to bring in now Steve Goncalves, who lost his daughter Kaylee in the King Road massacre, and we are also joined by the family's attorney, Shannon Gray. Steve and Shannon, it's always nice to see you. I'm sorry to have to read all of that right before going to you. I know that can't be easy. I'm curious, Steve, did you get any kind of heads up that this would be released late today?
No, we didn't hear a word, and my wife has said from the very beginning, when the hopefully the 911 never came out, and if it did come out, at least she would have, be some prepared. She has a counselor, she has people she could talk to. There's certain things that coping mechanisms. So we'd like for the advocate or somebody to kind of let us know what's going on, rather than nothing personal, but.
Oh, so I thought for a second he was talking about like Dylan, because this makes them look even worse, but I think he's talking about Christy. Christy didn't get a heads up, and I guess it like affected her mentally. That's what I think he's saying here.
Having the media tell you is probably not the same as having somebody that.
But I do find it strange that he just said that they had wished that it never came out. Why?
That you've learned to have a relationship and you trust and you've worked with. So yeah, we're finding out just like everyone else. So it's a bit rough.
Okay, but ask the right questions.
I'm so sorry.
Bro.
And I remember that you had a meeting with them months ago, and I thought they were going to sort of give you guys a heads up when things were going to be released publicly. And I guess that didn't happen in this case, which is unfortunate.
I don't think that the state is still like, I don't really think that they're talking to the Goncalveses as much as they want to try to pretend like they are, or as much as they try to tell their little fledglings that they are. Because what did we hear? What did we read, rather, whenever the closed transcript came out? The state seemed annoyed as hell that the Goncalveses were there. And the court was like, well, who told them to come? And the state was like, not us. He's not making his argument any better whenever he behaves the way that he behaves. And if he really wanted to get on the state's bad side, he could at least be doing it for the right reasons, by asking the right questions instead of just causing chaos.
Is there anything, Steve, that, I mean, obviously the horror is what stands out to me, but was there anything in
the horror? The horror of the 911 call stands out to you? Who the frick are you lying to, Entin? Are you serious? The whole world has now read these 911 transcripts. What horror? What horror? It might sound different if you're listening to the audio. Maybe we'll actually get some emotion out of stuff. But what horror! They're not even describing the scene like they're supposed to be describing the scene. Nothing that these kids are saying on the phone equates to what we've been told about what physically was inside that house. Why are you pretending, bro?
In the text of the text messages or the call.
Okay, now the text messages, I will say there's more emotion going on in the text messages than what we're reading in the 911 call. But even then, go back over the live. Go back over the live where we read it, and then go back over the live where we slowed it down and analyzed everything. These text messages and all the things that are going on in these text messages is happening after that car apparently already left, while Murphy is apparently barking his head off for an additional 30 minutes. And then what does she do at 11 something in the morning, a whole hour after she then again messages Kaylee and Maddie, "Are you up? Are you up?" 10:23, she's messaging them in the freaking morning about if they're up. Then at 11:39, she's calling her dad. No, they're having a text message exchange. That's still like 20-ish minutes before the 911 call. She's calling her father, calling people over to the house. And at that point, though, she's already been up for at least an hour and some change, because we don't really know what she was doing prior to 10:23. They're just showing us that at 10:23 she was awake, which is interesting that they're like allowing us to see that she was up for so long before the 911 call, because that's an hour and a half. But it's basically 10:30 to noon. 10:30 to noon. Are you for real? There ain't no way that it was just 10:30 to noon. I promise you that. And then to find out also that she was messaging the Eric Grower Uber driver guy after everybody was apparently already home to see if he was out driving. She apparently got home at 1:15. Kaylee and Maddie got home at 1:56. And we don't really know for sure what freaking time Xana and Ethan got home, still, for no freaking reason at all.
That really struck you?
What struck me is, it's not like Hollywood. It's not a scripted thing. It's not like what you would see on a TV set. That was a raw.
I'm so sick and tired of him always saying that. This isn't Hollywood. Well, then how about you stop talking Netflix?
Emotional breakdown of two girls that were scared for their life.
Were they? Because in this, it sounds like they're just reporting that their friend is unconscious from being too drunk the night before. This doesn't sound like they're scared for their lives in this 911 call. Now, the text messages, again, it does sound a bit strange, but the only thing that they're mentioning in that is that somebody had a mask on, but then Bethany is saying that Xana was the one wearing all black. They're a little bit freaked out. No one else is answering the phone. Okay, cool. Explain the freaking delay. Explain the freaking delay. I'm sorry, but if this was my freaking kid, if I was sitting where Steve is sitting, you'd be having to keep me off of those two girls to get the damn truth. I would be considered dangerous to their freaking health and safety if I was one of these kids' parents. And that's just the facts. This is ridiculous.
There's part of me that knows that, like how that house was, there's a lot of pranking going on. There's a lot of partying. So there's part of them that was probably thinking, is this a prank? Am I getting messed with? I know for a fact my daughter loved pranking people.
I'm sorry? So there's 4 people dead with apparently ginormous wounds and defensive wounds that are so bad that fingers are almost falling off. And you're going to sit here and say, oh, they didn't know if they were being pranked. What is happening? What is happening?
So my heart goes out to those two girls. I'd have a hard time if I was one of their parents to have my daughter put through what they've been put through. I mean, we sat 2.5 years on what? Why did this need?
I mean, I agree with that. We sat 2.5 years on what? Because this doesn't prove anything when it comes to their suspect. It doesn't really prove anything when it comes to anything when it comes to guilty or innocent. But it says a shit ton about Dylan and Bethany's immaturity and inability to do what they needed to do. And if this isn't more of proof that they're freaking hiding more, I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to tell you. If you don't read this stuff and know about how she has lucid dreams and has eyeball art and stuff all over her walls and is so unreliable and says stuff like, he was white. I don't know how he was white. I just know that he was white. Okay, we know damn well something was cleaned up. Then all of a sudden, weeks later, she wants to start talking about a fireman and a vacuum and like all these crazy things that don't even make any freaking sense. Nothing that this girl has said points at the man in the orange jumpsuit. Okay? Literally nothing. Her herself even found his picture online after he was arrested and told the freaking cops that she didn't recognize the guy. Can we quit pretending? Can we quit pretending?
Need to be hidden from the public. Why did these girls have to be dragged through all this? These are the type of things that
they would have gotten dragged harder. So far, all we've had is speculation and a couple of things that might have slipped, but that nobody really knew if it was accurate or not, if the truth was being shown to us, because you can't trust people. You can't trust anything, okay? They would have gotten dragged harder because this is proof of everything that we've already been speculating over the past 2.5 years, 2 years. So, no, whatever you just said, it would have been the opposite.
Why do these interviews and why we push back a little bit, because
you don't push back at all.
I think a lot of people are questioning right now why this was hidden.
Yeah, we're questioning why it was hidden, and we're also questioning why you're not questioning what the hell is going on here. Their freaking priorities and the things that they do and the things that they ask and all the other things, like, they seem, you know what? I'm tired of trying to make it make sense.
Yeah, I mean, look, Shannon, it's been years and none of this is coming out until now. And now the judge has said that he wants more of this to become public. But Steve makes a good point. I mean, if this had just come out within the first couple of months, maybe it would have been easier on the survivors and the victims' families like the Goncalves.
No. Because what have they done? They don't want to come back and testify. There is a reason why they are refusing to come back over state line. Okay, Bethany, for sure, is trying to fight absolutely freaking everything. Okay, and there's been verbiage in the state documents about witnesses might testify if they testify. Okay, and there's also a lot of talk in the background of things about how if they do testify, that the cameras are going to be completely turned off whenever they're the ones talking. Like, we might get a transcript later on down the line, but most likely the camera and the audio will be cut for the public, is most likely what's going to happen. And they're going to blame it on the fact that they're scared, full of anxiety, all these things. Well, you can't sit there and tell me that once you've already sat there and told me that Dylan herself, went and pulled Bryan Kohberger's picture up and said that she didn't recognize the dude. So what you scared of? What you scared of? And even if you weren't so sure about what you saw, if you trusted the police investigation to have the right guy, what you scared of? If he's behind bars and can't get you, if the boogeyman's locked up, what you scared of? That doesn't make any sense. That behavior right there doesn't make any sense. So no, it would not have been easier. We would have just seen everything that we already speculated was actually true a lot faster, instead of making us wait around just to be right.
Elvis.
Yeah, I mean, the prosecution's choice in keeping everything under wraps has been a decision that they've made from the get-go. They haven't wavered from it in any way. That being said, I mean, for lack of a better term, I'm just pissed. Common decency should have the Latah County prosecutor's office and the victims' advocates contact myself and the victims' families and let them know some of the stuff that's coming down and is being filed, so they're not just surprised by it, and just have a really just honest conversation with us about it.
I mean, I don't disagree that they should be getting a heads up. That was my biggest complaint, with the situation that I was going through, it would be 6 months in between phone calls from the prosecutor's office. And then they want me to just like do whatever they asked me to do in 3 days when I hadn't heard from them in 6 or 7 months. And it was like that literally every single time. So I agree with that part. I think that the family deserved a heads up that this stuff was coming out because it's been such a big thing, especially when it comes to the text messages, because it proves that they knew at the time that shit was going down and still nobody did the right thing. So while I do agree they should have gotten a heads up, if they would have been paying attention to the documents the way that we pay attention to the documents, then they would have had a little bit of a heads up. Because what was it, like a week ago on like 2/24 is whenever these documents actually got filed, and we knew that there were documents pertaining to the text messages and to the 911 call. We've been knowing for almost 2 weeks now that this was probably going to be something about that subject. We just didn't know we were going to get the transcripts. Now that part blew everybody's minds. Okay. That part, okay, I will give them that. But they would have had a little bit of heads up and definitely could have been like, hey, we see something about the 911 call in the public summary about documents that are going to be coming out. Would you mind explaining that? There's a little bit of due diligence they probably should also have here, especially since they have a freaking attorney. What are they paying him for? He's not even talking for them. He's talking with them. What is his point?
But none of that happens. And I'm frustrated and I'm pissed for myself and the family that I don't have a chance to explain those things to them, to give them a little bit of a heads up on, hey, these motions are filed this way and they may or may not be successful. If it is successful, who cares? Doesn't affect the case in some way, or my opinion on whether or not those motions might be filed or might be successful or not. But it's just really, really frustrating. And I know Steve and Christy are frustrated by it, but I'm the one that gets to say, I'm pissed, and I'm pissed for everybody. So
I'm pretty sure that Steve can say the same thing. Why are you the only one that gets to say that you're pissed? That doesn't even make any sense.
Yeah, and I mean, even if they can't give you the documents ahead of time, it seems like they could at least give you a heads up to tell the family, hey, maybe don't watch the news for an hour. Give me a second to go through these and call you. It seems like that would be sort of a decent thing to do. Steve, what do you make of this latest motion where they're trying to ban words from coming out during trial? I mean, simple words like that are part of the case: murder, bushy eyebrows, sociopath, psychopath. Did this come as a surprise, Steve?
They don't want words being used towards someone that has not been proven guilty. They are using psychology and the way that the human brain works to their advantage. That's how it should be. On top of that, if Idaho does not allow some sort of like mental health defense, they shouldn't be allowed to use these words as an offense either. Okay, there's that. And the bushy eyebrow thing, Entin, how about you just go sit your little salt and pepper self ass down all over again so that you can read the documents before you really like ruin your reputation that you've barely got hanging on while you actually got it? Because you know damn well why we don't want them talking about bushy eyebrows. We literally just spent hours and hours on lives talking about what Dylan has said and about her bushy eyebrow art on her wall and her human figures that are cut out with ridiculously distinguishable eyes and eyebrows that are pinned with needles to a cork board. Okay, you know why they don't want bushy eyebrows. And on top of that, who has bushy eyebrows? Not Bryan Kohberger.
Yeah, I thought they'd have a sadistic on there from the profile that I know that they've made of him.
See, look at
some
this.
of the websites that he's been to, that was a one that rated really high with him. So I'm a little surprised they didn't put that word on there.
Sadistic. But this is somebody who we haven't heard an actual bad thing about. And he's putting this fake information. So he's wanting he's wanting people to believe that the state isn't telling them simple things like paperwork is about to come out, heads up. But we're supposed to believe that in turn of them not getting little nothing minuscule information like that, They're getting massive information, like the profiles that was worked up on the killer and the kind of stuff that Bryan Kohberger looks up on the internet. You're not being told anything, Steve. Everything that you've got your people out here pushing is literally being proven false every minute of the day. I don't know why this dude is still out here doing this. He's not doing his daughter any justice whatsoever, and I don't give a damn. I don't give a damn. He's not.
When you're super desperate, you really have nothing. You attack words and simple things like that. I mean, they're really done. I mean, their client has left so much evidence that they've got to attack words. So
left so much evidence they have to attack words. Give me one piece. Give me one piece. Everything that has come out, the state has already proven that it's false. Why are you lying? Why are you lying?
I guess it's a sign. It's a sign of what's to come, and hopefully the state, the prosecution, strong enough to see this all the way through and not give in to the desperation that's about to come and the plea deals that they're going to try to negotiate for.
Oh, look at that. Now we know exactly for sure where JLR got his lies from. I'm sorry, but you've got nothing. You've got literally freaking nothing. You have experts coming in from all over the country to help the defense in this case. Steve, you are the one who looks desperate right now. You need to chill out. Please do not forget to leave a like on your way out and subscribe to the channel if you are not subscribed already.